Good evening, and welcome to Gamersledge Podcast, the podcast about games, video games, movies, TV, and all other sorts of wonderful geekerific stuff. My name is Matt. I will be your host for this evening. Normally, you'll notice there's more than one of us. Today, we're flying solo, which is funny because we're going to talk about Solo, the latest trailer for the most recent newest upcoming, most currentest soon to be movie. Yeah, words. It's one of them days. So, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We've got some news. We got some items like the trailer we're going to talk about for a bit. Tried not to monologue too terrible much, considering that the entire podcast is going to be me monologuing. So, yeah, let's see how that works. Definitely not going to be a 2.5 hour podcast tonight, folks. I can tell you that much. All right. So, why did I forget? Anything? Oh, yeah. If you're watching, feel free, please, to throw any comments or questions in if you want to add to the discussion. I think I've got it figured out how to look at comments. That's not usually my job, but I think I've got it figured out. So, yeah, go ahead and add something into the chat or, whatever, and we'll get her figured out and get her worked in. All right. So, as we are oft wont to do, and obviously we encourage the consumption of beverages, both alcoholic and not. This is coffee, so caffeine. Usually going to sneak those in while somebody else is talking, but I'm the only one talking, so what are you going to do? All right, so what have I done since we talked last week? I have finally finished the single-player main story through of Wolfenstein 2. The New Order, Wolfenstein 2. Fun for the most part. Just ridiculously over the top. That game just does stuff story-wise and plot points and things that are just ridiculous. Overall, I think I actually like the first one, New Order, a bit better. I think the gameplay is a bit more even. You got a lot of hiccup spots in this one where it's just you're trucking along, and then all of a sudden you just hit a wall, and lots of times the thing I hear about Souls games, I don't play them, but things I hear about them is that you know what you did wrong, you learn what you did wrong. Yeah, that wasn't the case here. It was almost random. It felt like if you're going to have something that hard, you kind of are expecting a pattern, and there was a pattern to it, but it didn't always hold. But anyway, overall it was fun. I'd say it's worth not $60, probably, pick it up on sale, for my opinion. That's what I did. There's a lot of extra stuff. There are these assassination missions where you're supposed to go take out the Uber commanders and take back North America, or at least the United States portion of North America, and a chunk of Venus. Spoiler alert. And somewhere else. I forget. There's another place, I think. Anyway, whatever it is. Those are like condensed versions of the worst parts of the game, so I wouldn't recommend them. If you want to and you feel like it, that's great. And a lot of people played this on easier settings. I played on whatever was normal, and it was plenty challenging. Yeah. A lot more of this game is just kind of the crazy spectacle on what it does with the story and where it goes with its points and things, I think. And then obviously there's, some social commentary worked in there, whether they said they wanted to do that or not. I think you can't really do that without definitely set up for a sequel. If there was any surprise there that they would leave it open for another one. Definitely set up there for another one. So I would expect this one did well. First one did well, that we will see another Wolfenstein 3 at some point, not terribly distant future. Will we get another like Old Blood type in between game? I'm not thinking so much. Again, no multiplayer, so no worries about that. Um, if you're a trophy hunter or achievement hunter, those are pretty hard in this one, unless you're really going to dedicate yourself to it, or you just find yourself naturally, innately really good at this game. Um, they're laborious. I used to think I was good at collection things, and then these last few games I played have decidedly tried to prove to me that I'm not as good at collecting as I thought I was, or maybe I'm just old. It could be too. So yeah, that was good time coming trying to get through that sucker. That was a bit of a while. I went through and I played from start to finish Transformers Devastation. It was about 10 hours. Fun game. I'm sure you can pick it up for cheap now. Again, it had some weird difficulty spikes, points where it was just kind of weird, but especially if you remember Gen 1, I mean, the art style, the animation, the sounds, everything about it is straight up Gen 1, except Megatron's form is a tank. Can't do handguns anymore. But the weapons look like the goofy weapons that came with the toys and were in the cartoon at the time. It took, I think I said, about 10 hours for me to play through. Again, collection wise, I think I got like about 50% of the collectibles. Okay, there we go. Let's see. And the one thing is you start out with 3 characters. Ultimately, there's 5 characters you can play, and there's skins for 3 of them that make them other characters, but they're just skins, so they don't change anything gameplay wise. Just change the appearance. Because a lot of those Transformers were pretty template heavy. And then again, they do look like the cartoon, not the toys. So especially like the early G1s where the toys a lot of times did not look like the cartoon characters, because the cartoon was actually a ripoff of the toys from a different series that they stole, they borrowed, they used, they rebranded into Transformers. But yeah, it's got the solid voice actors. Peter Cullen is Prime. A lot of the standard ones that are doing the voices now for those characters of that type and that generation. Story gets a little weird at points. Like, I don't understand. There's a segment with a space bridge, and I still have no idea why the space bridge was there, other than Transformers G1 wanted space bridge. It doesn't seem to make any sense to me, but anyway, it's there. There are 3 characters that you start out with. They play similarly but differently. Once you pick a character and start working with them, and you start, there's a leveling aspect to it. It levels the stats. It's got the old stats, like if you had the old cards with the stat cards on the back, and you had to have the little red piece of plastic to be able to read the stats. There's a stats thing in there, and you level up your stats, not your character. So different things you do will level up different stats. I think just playing will level up them to a degree, but doing certain actions will level up the different stats in different ways. And then there's a weapons crafting evolution, combine weapons and make them stronger. I played on the, again, medium normal difficulty. So I don't know if you play on the harder difficulty, if you get better weapons, but I was not impressed with the weapon progression terribly. It's got some quality of life things that could have been done to make it a lot easier. I think there were several systems that were supposed to be in this game that didn't make the final cut. And it obviously set up for a sequel that doesn't be coming. At least I haven't heard anything about Platinum or anyone doing a sequel to this. That said, what I started out saying a while back is once you pick a character, there's generally not a lot of motivation to change what character you pick to start with. I did pick one of the faster. I picked Sideswipe. Was the character that I was playing for the most part, and really that's the last one I tried. I tried Prime because you start out with him, and then I tried Bumblebee, and then I tried Sideswipe, and I liked the dual swords that he had. And even though a lot of most of the characters can equip most of the weapons, For some reason, I just associated him with the dual swords. So that just kind of became, I played him because I preferred the dual swords, and he was the character I associated with it. Also, the gun he starts with is a flamethrower. And as far as I could tell, it was the only flamethrower in the game, which kind of stinks because once you get used to it and understand how the flamethrower works, that's probably one of the best weapons in the game. Definitely one of the few weapons that's got a decent ammo count. It is melee heavy. It is essentially a brawler. There are missiles and guns and flamethrowers and such, but it is primarily a brawling game. At least that's how it played out to me. There were a couple of segments later on where I needed to switch characters to another character that could use a heavier weapon, just because I couldn't do the damage out that I needed to in the time frame without getting destroyed. So I didn't play the entire game as one character. The solution to that is to play Prime, because Prime can use pretty much, I think, every weapon class except for the ones that say somebody's thing. So, Bumblebee's fists or side swipes dual swords, or whatever, anything that's a character's name. Obviously only that character can use it, except when it's enemies. If it's the enemy's thing, then you can use it. Anyone can use it that can use that class of weapon. And I don't think there's a single class of weapon that Prime can't use. So you can carry a light melee weapon, a heavy melee weapon, and then whatever. Well, you have one melee slot and one gun slot, and then 2 free slots. So you can arrange it any way you want, except you have to have one melee and you have to have one gun. Whatever you do with the other 2 slots is up to you. I would recommend a heavy weapon, a light weapon, some sort of ranged rifle-ish type thing, and then whatever else you like best. I would say missiles, because you've run into some flyers and tends to be the way to deal with those. But yeah, it's an older game. Was it 2013 when that came out-ish? Or what are we, 2018? That'd be too long ago. 2015 maybe? I don't know. I don't remember, but it's an older game. Sure, you can find it for pretty cheap. I think it was part of Plus a couple years back. So if you've had Plus for multiple years and you grab the games, you've got it. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. It's definitely not a $60 game. Don't pay $60 for it. If you can pick it up for 20 or less, I would say you'll definitely get 20 to $0 worth of enjoyment out of it. Yeah. So anything else on that one? There's some weirdness to the game. And like I said, I think there's some systems that didn't fully get fleshed out, but they definitely again set up that one for a sequel. And well, I guess that kind of just didn't ever happen. I don't know how Devastation sold. Maybe it didn't do well, but it's probably the best Transformers game since the 2 High Moon, War for Cybertron, and oh gosh, the 2 Cybertron ones that High Moon Studios did, which were excellent, very, very, very good games. This one's not that good, but it's the best since those 2. And really, that's about it. Anyone that's watched the show before knows I'm not really into mobile gaming, so I don't really do anything on that front. I did try the Marvel Strike game. Nope. It wasn't bad, but I could see where it was going, and I could see what it was going to want me to do, and I didn't want to go there. I play solitaire when I have some time that I need to kill a few minutes. So if you want that, there's some solid solitaire apps on Android. Otherwise, we have been watching some television. We caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., except this past episode last Friday, so we're still behind on that, but that show is still rocking pretty hard. I think I see where they're going if they do get renewed for season 6. I think I see the out here, but we'll see. Finished up season 1 of The Magicians. Most of it was where I thought it was going. There were a couple things there that I didn't anticipate. It wasn't things like we knew about and then, it twisted on me and didn't go the way I thought. They were things I didn't anticipate that they were going to bring up. But overall, it's decent. It's a good show. It's a good time burner. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's enjoyable. And I think I started season 2, 1 episode into season 2. I think that is season 2 is really going to start kicking it off. The end of season 1 really starts to click. Season 2 seems to be picking up and going pretty hard. We'll see ultimately where it all goes. It is full Netflix. It is full of language and innuendo and straight up not innuendo, whatever innuendo is. Graphic stuff, I guess. Right then and there. It's not child friendly unless, definitely as a parent, I would say preview it before you allow anyone of a age younger than, well, I'll just say 18. You're a parent. If you're a parent and you have your kids, you know what their tolerances are, you know what you approve and don't approve of for them. But that's my recommendation, is you'd preview it first. I think the first 10 minutes of first episode of season 2 probably doubled the number of F-bombs that were in the entirety of season 1. Okay, that is hyperbole, but it came close. It's so language wise, whatever your tolerance is, definitely some sexual content and some, shall we say, disturbing to certain, there's some lots of nice stuff. Magic comes from pain, not happiness and rainbows. So yeah. Beyond is a show I'm still watching. It's on Freeform. Honestly, I season 2 started out really rough and it's picked back up and gotten better, but I don't know if it goes for a season 3. I'm not sure I'll stick around. Too many other shows and I'm not getting enough out of it. Tonight, I'm not watching it yet because, I'm getting ready for this and doing this for you guys, but The Expanse season 3 starts tonight. So excited for that. Solid science fiction show. And I call it a science fiction show because it is a science fiction show. It is not a sci-fi show. It is a science fiction show. It is on the channel Sci-Fi, but it is a good, solid offering thus far based on the books by the duo who go under the name S.A. Corey, if I remember correctly. Have not read the books, so I do know that there is some significant deviation in stuff. Simply because Caffeine Powered over in Omega Level has talked about it and the differences. But, this is one of those, he manages to love both. And if he can manage to love both, so can you. Yeah. So anyway, Beyond, I don't know. Yeah. Again, I would say go ahead, give it a shot. I'm not going to say you're going to love it, but you might. Season 3 of Shadowhunters has started back up. I think we're 3 or so episodes in. I think the show's kind of gotten back in the line a bit more with where the books were, based on talking some with Mitchell, who was on the show the past few episodes. It seems like the show and the books have gotten more back in line than they were for a while. Pretty solid stuff. Again, you're getting what you're paying. If you came in and saw season 1 and then you saw the evolution into season 2, it's more of the same. Nothing drastically has changed here. It's very much a freeform style show. The next one of which I'll be interested in watching, obviously, is Cloak and Dagger. Actually, there's a mermaid show, kind of a mermaid horror show, I guess, called Siren, that's come out. I didn't start recording that one, so I might have to pop onto Hulu and try and catch it before whatever bizarre random rules on how many episodes of whatever can stay on Hulu at a time prevent me from being able to see that. I don't know. It was one of those I've gone back and forth on whether I want to try to spend my time, because there are so many things to try to watch. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And then the other thing I've been watching, a show that is a favorite of my daughter's, is a series of unfortunate events, season 2, 10 episodes, 2 episodes per book, same as season 1. So if you read the books, you can kind of figure out that episode 1 and 2 are the first book, 3 and 4 are the second book. And I hadn't only read the first 3 books, so that was the first 6 episodes of season 1. And they paralleled pretty well. I mean, it held up pretty well, but what you expect and what happened. But man, that for a story that literally is warns you and tells you that things are not happy and things are not going to go well and stuff is bad. And, the first 5 minutes of every show is Patrick Warburton as Lemony Snicket telling you that you should go do something else because this is nothing but pain and misery. And he has to do it because he has to, but you don't have to. So you should just go do something else. Yeah, that got kind of dark. Um, we're back to, some of the things that more annoying about the first few episodes and then got better for a while. And now we're back to kind of the I'll just say it. It's a kid's show. And like many Disney Channel or Nickelodeon Channel shows, adults are idiots by and large. And again, that's for the kids' perspective, right? I mean, I get it. I understand it, but this kind of takes it to a whole new level. This is 2 story arcs in a row now where you have a larger group of adults all basically bat effing crazy insane. So yeah, I've got 1 more book, 2 more episodes left of this season. I mean, I assume I know where it's going to end up. But there's still some elements that don't quite fit. So I'm not really sure. I don't really know where it's going to end up because I make assumptions, but this could easily go kind of any direction. But yeah, it's actually really good. Obviously, if you like Patrick Warburton, I mean, the voice, the voice, if you're good for the voice, I mean, he's not in it a ton, but he does monologue, a couple, 3 times an episode. Neil Patrick Harris, the guy is pretty dang talented. I mean, I watched him as Doogie Howser when I was younger, and he was younger, obviously. And, he's just kind of kept it up. I wasn't a How I Met Your Mother fan, so I didn't really keep up with him there. But, yeah, this Count Olaf role, I appreciate Jim Carrey, and there are definitely some Jim Carrey movies I like, but, Neil Patrick Harris's portrayal of Count Olaf is probably far better. Not probably, it is far better. And obviously his ability to sing and just kind of be so over the top just works perfectly for this role. They've had some interesting guest stars, co-stars. People you can pick out that you've seen in other stuff. One that I had absolutely no idea was going to be in, was in for a fair amount. But again, it is a kids-ish show. I say that with a bit of an asterisk with the last couple of storylines, but I mean, it is I forget but it is a young adult or kid, not a little kid show, but a young adult, tweens kind of target, story wise. I mean, the books are similarly targeted. The kid around the same age as the kids are supposed to be, except for the baby, of course. So, I mean, there are things that, as if you're an adult watching it, expecting an adult styled show, you're going to not get that. But I mean, there's some good solid humor. There's some deep cuts, especially there's a storyline that involves medical stuff. So obviously Neil Patrick Harris has to dig at his own history a little bit. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. And it's definitely keeping me interested. So, even if it is a bit disturbing. Yeah. So, and there are my dogs. I also read, my last 2 weeks of comic books. I just picked up today, so I haven't got those read. I have trade number 4 of Paper Girls to read through yet. So getting caught up on that front. Saying a lot. Sorry, that's one of my pet peeves too. So someone's probably sitting there with a tally counter going, 1 more and I'm out of here. So I'll try not to say that anymore. But that does bring us to the end of the what I've been up to list of things. I am actually planning on trying to play Bloodborne. since that was a last month plus game. So we'll see. Not making any promises on this one. What did I play? I started something and I bailed hard on it. Gosh, I don't remember what that was. I started playing and I'm just like, nope, this is not fun. Nope, not doing it. So I may hit that wall. I know it's just keep playing it until it clicks is the mantra of that, but I have far too little time and way too many games to play. So oh yeah, Legion's back. Didn't care for episode 1 as much as season 1. Wasn't bad. I just didn't appreciate it as much. It had some high points, had some low points, had some just meh. But yeah, so we'll keep watching that too, because that's a solid show. Sorry, forgot to put that one in my list. Let's see, what do we have for news that we can talk about? So we'll go over to the old Twitter feed because we threw some stuff on there over the week here. Go through that quick, and then we will talk about that one trailer that I was gonna talk about. We won't talk for long. I'll try it not to, at least. So after the podcast, the next day, actually later that day, no, the next day. Apologize. Divinity Original Sin 2, which has been out for PC for quite some time now. You've heard Mark talk about it. You've heard a bunch of other people talk about it. I assume arguably one of the best, if not the best, computer PC style RPG games in the thread of a Baldur's Gate or something of that nature, but better. Has officially finally got its console date. It'll be coming in August. Well, it doesn't have a date. It has a month. It'll be coming to PS4 and Xbox One in August, and with the full feature set and modified controls for PC and controllers, or for PC, for consoles and controllers and all that. And yeah. Last week on the podcast, we talked about the possibility of a Spyro re-release or a refactor or a remaster or whatever you're calling these things, that they have different levels of rebuilding to them. And the leaks were leaking the next morning, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. Spyro Reignited Trilogy announced. All 3 PS1 classic games by Insomniac being rebuilt by Toys for Bob. Which you may know from Skylanders. They didn't do all of the Skylanders, but they did the original. I think they did like every other. Or did they do the first 2 and then skipped one? And then anyway, they did several of the Skylanders games, which obviously, especially the first one, had Spyro specifically in the title. Spyro did continue as a character throughout. But they are coming out on September 21st for PS1 and for PS4 and Xbox One variants. Again, that is all 3. It is Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, which is often believed as the best, and Spyro Year of the Dragon, which I really liked because I liked all the guest characters and the different mechanics, but a lot of people felt it made it watered down. It looks amazing. There's been some side-by-side comparisons done. Looks amazing. Spyro is one of my favorite PS1 series, and I'm older, so I was an adult when I played this. This isn't like kid fanboying, like a nostalgia of childhood or anything. I had kids by the time I was playing this game. Okay, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but it is all 3 of those games, and they look amazing. The side-by-sides are just kind of ridiculous as to what the difference in graphic fidelity is. There will be some fixes too, like a true twin stick control for all 3 games. And just some cleaning up and enhancement overall of the game to add in some modern understanding. It'll be $40 on both platforms, and I believe it's going to be physical release as well. I'm missing that right now, but I'm pretty sure it's got a physical release as well. So yeah, so we got that, and we got Spider-Man, and we just had Crash Bandicoot last year, so yeah, it's looking good. Lawbreakers is officially no longer it's still being supported, but it didn't really catch on, and so it's just kind of out there. There's not going to be any more updates. I think there'll be some fixes and stuff, but yeah. Uh, Avengers Infinity War is just murdering pre-orders. I just saw another figure on beyond this one. It's like its pre-orders are more than the last 7 Marvel movies all put together. It's like the second highest. It's already passed many milestone movie milestones in pre-orders, and the film's not out for another 16 days. So it's a monster already, and it hasn't even shown its first public screening yet. There's all kinds of wackadoodle stuff going on about Stan Lee and stuff around his life and things that might be going on and might not be going on. I don't know anything for sure. I know there's a lot of people that know him or have known him over life that are concerned, and possibly with good cause. I mean, dude's almost 100, and he's out there, and it might be by choice, and it might not be by choice, and he may not know the difference anymore. I mean, you get up there in those years, and it's amazing if you can tie your own shoes, much less anything else. So hopefully this all gets resolved, whether there's bad things going on or bad things not going on. Just hope it all gets resolved. FX has ordered a pilot for Why the Last Man adaptation, one of Brian K. Vaughan's most beloved works that I haven't read because stuff and things. So yeah, we'll have to see where that goes. Xbox One backwards compatibility is poised to add a bunch of games to its repertoire. Let's see. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not looking at the camera or you guys. I'm reading because, I don't have this stuff memorized. But we've got today, you've got Sonic Generations for the first time in the Xbox One family. Enhanced Darksiders, Gears of War 2, Portal 2, Red Dead Redemption, Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Later on April 17th, you will get Blinks the Time Sweeper, Breakdown, Conquer Live and Reload, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, Hunter the Reckoning, Jade Empire, Panzer Dragoon, Orta, and SSX 3. Most of those I recognize. Original Xbox games releasing on April 26th. Destroy All Humans, Full Spectrum Warrior, Mercenaries, Playground of Destruction, MX Unleashed, Panzer Elite Action, Field of Glory, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. Wish I was getting that one because I miss those old games. And that's part of why I played Strike Suit Zeros, because I miss that category of game. I know you can get Star Wars. You can buy Jedi Starfighter. I guess we do have. PlayStation does have Jedi Starfighter. It not backwards compatible version of it, but they do have a version of it that you can purchase. Starfighter and Jedi. No, Starfighter is only on PS3. PS4 has Jedi Starfighter. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, and Star Wars Republic Commando, which is a game I was very curious about, but again, shooters. So there you go. If you have an Xbox One and you have any of those titles, you'll be able to pull them forward into your life or buy them. So that's the other option. You can just buy them new on your shiny Xbox One family of things. If you are a PlayStation Plus member, you can save 10% on your Spotify subscription. See PlayStation.com for more details. So I have not picked this up, and I'm not 100% sure on how this is going. But Chrono Trigger got for the PC for Steam has gotten an update that seems to make a lot of headway into addressing the issues that were brought up at launch that made it less than well received. So they gave you an option to either do the new graphics or the original graphics. Most people agree that the original graphics look better. Got rid of some of the mobile interface stuff and just cleaned up a lot of little things in the game to make it much more a much better experience for it on PC. If you bought it before and you ditched it, you might want to go ahead and get this update and take a look and see this might be a thing you're interested in now. Or you just, if you haven't bought it because you heard all the horrible stuff and you want to see what it's about, there's some videos out there. Go ahead, take a look and see if it now meets what you think you want for Chrono Trigger on PC. Because it is a game that everyone should play because it is amazing and awesome and amazing. Yes. From that era of Squaresoft where things were all awesome. Steam Spy is a thing that has both loved and hated as the Ring loves and hates itself. Smeagol loves and hates himself with the Ring, whatever. But it is now time to say goodbye to Steam Spy. Steam Spy was a application, I guess if you want to say it that way, that scraped data out of Steam users' libraries to kind of give an idea of sales information and how well a game is doing and how popular, a bunch of other statistics. Steam has decided to lock down the default security policies of their users, thereby making Steam Spy pretty much useless because it relied on those open profiles to aggregate enough data to present what should at least hopefully be a fairly decent representation of the Steam environment. Some people love this is going away. Some people hate that this is going away, especially small indie developers. At least gave them some sort of barometer to work off of. Without that, unless Steam decides to go ahead and provide a service that allows developers to see metrics about their games better than it does currently. Again, I've not put a game out on Steam, so I really don't know exactly what they do and don't get through Steam. But that is no longer there. On the other hand, there are definitely some developers who this has caused nothing but a headache as armchair project managers, I guess I'm going to call them, would come in and look at the numbers and make assumptions and decisions based on their limited knowledge base and experience, and then berate people on Steam for them, which, again, is another one of my things. Unless you are an expert in the field, generally berating someone for what they did is not going to make you look any better, and it is not a good use of anyone's time. If you want to ask questions, if you want to try to discover something, that's fine. But going on a rant because you think you know how to interpret data and events in a way that the people who are doing this aren't is probably not the best maneuver. But hey, that's me. What do I know? A lot, but that's not here nor there. And that's water. Because my mouth is dry because I've been talking a lot. All right. So that is what we had on that old news feed over there. That old news feed over there. Oh, yeah. Not careful, I'll end up with a copyright strike. What else do we got? Oh, yes. Mega Man X Legacy Collections 1 and 2 will be hitting. I saw this on the PlayStation blog, so I honestly did not look to see if it's coming out on other platforms. It's coming out on PlayStation 4. Let's see if I can figure out where it's coming out to. But anyway, Mega Man X Legacy and Legacy Collection 2 will be coming on PlayStation 4 on July 24th. Let's see, I think it says in here which which games come in which collection. Dooby-dooby-doo. Wow, this is really a lot of talking. That is a lot more in-depth on Mega Man X than you ever wanted to go into. Mega Man X Legacy Collection includes Mega Man X, X2, X3, X4, and Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2 is X5, X6, X7, and X8. I stopped at X5, so, and I've never played X3. X4, I think, arguably is the best in the series. And 7 and 8, I think, were significantly different. Wasn't like one of them like a over-the-shoulder 3D kind of game? They're PS2. Is that what they're broken down by? PS1 era, PS2, a Super Nintendo? I know 4 was on PlayStation, but I think it was either on Genesis or Super Nintendo first. I know XX2 and X3 were Super Nintendo. X5 and 5, I think, was PlayStation 1 too. So I'm not sure exactly what the delineation here is, other than I would say 1 through 4 are probably better than 5 through 8, although I have not played all of 5 through 8. But yes, this takes place in the Mega Man X universe. July 24th for the PlayStation. I would assume if it's on other consoles, it'll be the same. Mega Man X Legacy Collection. I'll never get used to going to Forbes for video game news, but it was the first link that looked like it contained what I wanted. 1 and 2, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. I thought so. I just needed to confirm that. All right, so good on those folks over there. I saw that on the PlayStation blog, though, so that's why I had the PlayStation Focus at first. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Let's see, we got other stuff. Let me see if I can find some of these items quick here. But if not, that we can go with that. I don't remember. It seems to me like there was some other stuff I was going to make sure to bring up, but I didn't write it down. So I'm not doing so good there. If I don't write it down, then it's pretty much lost to the ages. Soupy-doopy-doo, ba 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 doopy 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 boop 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 boom bum bum wah 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 wah. Chrono Trigger detonation. This is looking a lot like the Twitter stuff. Yep, that okay. Well, didn't put anything in there, that's for sure. All right, so I guess this week we also saw the final trailer for Star Wars Story Solo. I think I've been pretty clear on this and other forums that I am not expecting this to be a good movie. I'm not expecting it to be a dumpster fire, but I am not expecting this to be a good movie. It just doesn't seem like a thing that would work out to be that well. I thought Rogue One had a lot better chance than this one, and it met and it hit it in some and missed terribly in other ways. The buff. I lost my train of thought. Excuse me. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about the dead air, but I did not want to cough in your ear. But those folks over at Disney and Marvel and Star Wars, those guys know how to cut a trailer. I don't know what else to say. I cannot believe how much that trailer makes this look like this is going to be a movie that I would enjoy. Donald Glover's portrayal of Billy D. Williams, really. Seems spot on. I mean, the look isn't quite there, but he's got the pacing and the phrasing from what we've seen pretty well down. I mean, again, I know he's a very talented young man and a very talented voice actor, so um, not surprising, right? But that's not an easy imitation to do. I don't think, in my opinion. Um, the Han Solo looks better. There's and again, you don't want it to be full on Harrison Ford Han Solo episode 4. You know, he's still learning his style. He's still becoming Han Solo at this point. So, you know, you don't expect the full swagger to be on display. You don't expect that it's all going to completely work because he's not there yet. He's becoming that, right? So, yeah, I mean, surprisingly, this does look to a lot like, to me, it's these trailers. I don't know what it is. I mean, even movies that I don't even necessarily think I have an interest in sometimes. But these trailers that specifically the ABC Disney company, I guess Disney company, you know, these Disney owned studios are just making ridiculously good trailers. Sometimes, you know, you're like, oh, hey, I could just watch the trailer, you know. But I mean, you know, you got the Infinity War trailer, which is just insane. Possibly the best trailer of all time. And you've got this Solo thing for a movie that I'm just already decided I'm not gonna like, and yet here it is going, holy crap, that was an amazing trailer. So yeah, I guess I don't really have anything other to say about that. There's some interesting things in there. Again, don't want to hit it too hard. Some of the Chewbacca interactions look like they're going to be pretty spot on, pretty good. There's a scene in there where Chewbacca is doing something that I totally didn't expect, if that's what I think is going on. One of two things I think that could be going on there. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It does seem like there might be some time hopping going on here. I don't know if it'll be done I don't know that this movie is going to be entirely sequential. That could be good or bad. And maybe it is. And it's just, you know, there's an illusion of it that's playing to me. But yeah, it seems to be hitting. It really seems to be hitting well. Hopefully, you know, the Rogue One had a similar situation where another director came in to work the movie after the initial cut. I don't think the movie got quite as far with Solo as it did with Rogue One before they made the call to bring in Ron Howard. From what we've heard, you know, from a more traditional movie building style, he got in there, he took charge, and he went with it. The story's the story. From what we heard, from what we've been told so far, there's not significant changes that were made to the script or the story. It's just how you film it. The directing, it's, you know, Ron Howard is more a traditional director than God, their names are escaping me at the moment. The Lego Movie guys, where they're much more just kind of throw everything at the wall and then put it together in editing, which, you know, is an approach, but that is definitely not the approach that necessarily folks were looking for this project, it appears. So Ron Howard is a competent filmmaker. He's made some great films. He's made some good films. I think this could be a good film. It could shock us all, and it could be a great film. Or it could be, you know, the best thing that could happen with this movie is it could be a Pacific Rim, which is a stupid movie that doesn't make any sense, but you love it anyway. Don't get me wrong. I love the original Pacific Rim. Haven't seen the sequel. But that movie is just kind of bonkers. If you try to take each individual element and try to explain it to anyone, you sound insane. and there are things that are just wrong plot wise and all kinds of things. I mean, it's all those things that we shouldn't like, but it's put into this glorious Guillermo del Toro controlled package, and it works. If they can pull something off like that with this, that would be amazing. But I think I think this will be better than Rogue One at this point. If I had to make a call, I would not have said that 2 years ago. But everyone, I'm sure there will be an element that's going to hate it regardless. Especially since apparently Episode 8 has made hating Star Wars cool again. Or I don't know if it ever really was cool to hate Star Wars. I don't remember it being cool to hate Star Wars when I was growing up with it, but I'm sure at some elements in some places it was. I mean, it wasn't cool to be a geek for a long time. So I'm sure there were elements of that. Wow. Can I just dive into things and ramble? Yes, I can. Please, someone make it stop. Oh, so I will, because we've been going for about an hour, and that's about all anyone should really be subjected to me talking nonstop. So with that, final thoughts. It was Mitchell says hi. So, yeah, final thoughts. If you haven't, watch The Expanse. I believe the only place you can stream it on is Amazon. I think it's included in Prime. I don't know what it costs you if you don't have Prime. I don't have Prime, but I watched it as it aired live, well, DVR'd. So I didn't have a need to do that. But yeah, go ahead, give that a shot. Thursday or Friday, I don't remember which, Lost in Space drops on Netflix. First review headline I saw, pretty moderate, I guess we'll say. A pretty moderate review. Again, that was just from a headline because I wasn't a source that I felt compelled to actually read the review because I wasn't sure I'd care. I didn't have, sometimes reviews on things you just need to, and let's be honest, I'm going to go all squinty eyed here for a minute. You just need to try. And as hard as it is for me to stop after I've tried something, sometimes you just stop. Oh yeah. Other thing I tried, that I was surprised I'm enjoying is, Krypton. Excuse me while yeah, this weird story of 200 years before the destruction of Krypton about Brainiac and Kal-El's grandfather. Yeah. I mean, I guess I had watched enough stuff leading up to it to determine if I was going to give it a try, that I understood the world they were going for, and it is Game of Thrones-ish. Right? It's in that vein of the families and the hierarchy and the monarchy and the underclass, and all of these things play elements into the story, and what's going on there. But it's moving pretty quick, and I don't know if they plan for a season 2. That would be my biggest concern right now with what it's doing and where it's going, is if they're trying to make a more than one season show out of this, did they really did they just build a good season 1 and have that ready to go and get that in, and then if they get good numbers and they get to a season 2, then they'll figure it out later, which it seems like a lot of shows do. That could make for a very rough season 2. Kind of like what Beyond, I think, pretty sure that was a similar thread there. Yeah. I think season 1's going to be enjoyable. I don't know that they're really setting themselves up for a good season 2 at this point. But I'll keep enjoying it for what it is right now. Yeah. So sorry. One more thing I forgot to put on my list. Didn't do a good job with my list this week, did I? Didn't expect to be the only one talking. Next week should be better. We should have some other folks on next week, at least one other person next week. The cast is thin these days. The cast is thin. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I never did go back and check hopefully nobody's been yakking at me because I've been ignoring you if you have. All right. Don't see anything over there. So, excuse me. Apologize for that again. I'm a tickle in my throat. Yeah, I guess I'm going to stop saying and yeah, because I've done that 4, 5, 6 times now, and I would be ready to murder me if I was listening to this. So with that, this has been Gamersledge Podcast, episode 283, titled Solo. Get it? Tune in next week. We'll bring you more news and commentary and opinions on all the things it is that we love and hate. Mostly love, because really, why talk about the other stuff? And until then, I'm Matt, on behalf of the rest of the Gamersledge staff, saying good luck, good night, and game on.